Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now, today's video, we are going to look at the top 5 lines that you should grind right now. And again, as always in most of my top 5 videos, this is my personal opinion. Everyone has their own opinion, and these are the lines that I think that you should grind. And with all good reason, So we're going to start off, with the M48 pattern. Now, why the M48 pattern? Well, the pattern has been buffed. The pattern got buffed a little while ago. It got the DPM buff that it needed. That means it can compete with all the other medium tanks out there. Now, why pick the pattern over any other medium tank? Now, if you're just starting off in the game, a lot of the medium tanks don't have armor. Of course, you have tanks like the E50M, but the pattern will teach you a lot of things. It has an amazing turret. It's got good speed. It has got good a good turret and good gun depression. So this tank single-handedly will teach you a lot of things. If you can go in, sort of get taught hold down, learn how to use the turret, the gun depression and stuff like that, you are already on your way to learning the game. And the pattern is a big part of that, in my opinion. It didn't used to be because it didn't have the DPM. It's always had an amazing turret. I'm never going to deny that. It always had a very, very good turret. The only thing it really was disappointed was of course, the frontal armor and the fact that it had no DPM compared to all the other medium tanks out there with sort of 3,500, 3,600 DPM. This was just falling behind. So I honestly think if you are new to the game now and you want to drive medium tanks, the pattern is the way to go. Of course, there are other tanks out there as well. You've got the STB, and of course, as I've said, you've got the E50M. But I just think overall the pattern is a great drive now, and I think learning the pattern, you will then also get to learn other medium tanks in the game. So definitely, I think new to the game, the pattern now is a great start to your medium route. So next up, we had the pattern. Next up, we have the grill. Now, this is a bit controversial. Like, why the grill? Why the grill? The grill's got no armor. The lion, of course, you have the waffle. Now, I honestly think the grill, because again, like the pattern, the grill could teach you some good things. And the thing with the grill, because it is a tank destroyer with no armor, you have to learn what to do. You have to figure out what you're going to do in this tank, where you're going to go, and who you're going to kill, pretty much. And because it's got no armor, I honestly think the grill could teach you a few things on how to play tank destroyers. Now, of course, the grill, mostly you have to sit at the back of the map, and a lot of people think that is the main mission for a tank destroyer. So people sit at the back in tank destroyers that they don't need to sit at the back in. And I think if you want to learn tank destroyers, then of course there are better tank destroyers. There's very good tank destroyers, things like the E3, the T110 E3. But if you're just starting out in the game and you just want to learn how to play tank destroyers in general, then honestly I don't think the E3 is the one for you, because the E3 and the E4 and other tank destroyers, they are all about being front line, because they have that armor profile. Of course, the grill hasn't got that. So the grill would teach you how to camp to start off with, but it also teach you how to relocate when needed, because it has the speed. And of course, it will also teach you when to push forward, which target to go for. Yes, you're going to get punished. If you're just starting out in the grill, yeah, of course, you're going to get punished. And I wouldn't recommend playing the grill line for your first ever tank. Of course, I would still suggest heavy tanks, so you can learn how to do the basic things like side scrape and hold down. But if you're just starting out in the tank destroyer route, I still think the grill is a very, very good start, because by the time you reach the grill, you should have already learnt the basics about obviously how to camp. But the grill is not all about camping. Yes, it is a campy tank, but also it will teach you how to relocate because it's got the speed. You're able to relocate into different positions. So I honestly think like the grill could teach you a few things when you're just starting out on tank destroyers. So next up, we're going to move to light tanks, and of course the T100 LT. This is the light tank to go for right now. Of course, it has the DPM of a medium tank, 3,500 DPM, but it also has that new spotting mechanic. So when you shoot a tank, they are spotted for 20 seconds, but it also has light tank capabilities. It has the speed, of course, the spotting, and I think with the other light tanks out there, yes, you have things like the Vickers, which is still pretty decent, but I just think right now the meta is all about the T100. Of course, it is new to the game, and it is absolutely a fantastic tank. And if you learn how to play the T100, you'll also then learn roughly how to play the Vickers, and then the Sheridan and the Batchat, things like that. They are completely different light tanks, and they take a lot more skill to play than these guys do. Of course, when you are playing the T100, if you are new to the game, of course, and this is what this is mainly what this video is about: new players, what lines to grind for new players. If you learn how to play the T100, ultimately you're going to learn how to play mediums as well, because this kind of plays like a medium. It has the medium DPM, but of course it has mobility and the spotting mechanic, etc, etc, etc. So honestly, right now the T100 is a very, very good tank. Some will think it's overpowered, and the more I play it and the more I come up against it, I am sort of leaning to that OP standard, that OP rating in this tank. And that's not even about the spotting mechanic in general. I just think even without the spotting mechanic, this tank is super, super good. It's a light tank. It's a light tank with fantastic DPM. So yeah, definitely if you're looking at going the light tank route, the T100 is definitely the tank to go for. You can just completely destroy tanks. Now you watch this. We're going to come up against an E3 and we're just going to completely annihilate him. Now bear in mind, we're in a light tank and we have also bounced 1100 damage, which yes, you can do, of course you can do, but you shouldn't be able to bounce this much in a light tank. On top of that, with the speed, the mechanic it's got, and of course the main thing, one of the main things, the DPM, 3,500 DPM, 5.2 seconds reload for a light tank. And again, there, look, yes, he was at that kind of angle, but we still managed to get a bounce. That is 1,700 block damage, and we've just bullied this guy. We've absolutely bullied this guy, and they're just the Object 268. I'm not too bothered about getting shot from him because we can just completely bully him, and we do go on to win that game. So the T100 for you, for a light tank, if you are new to light tanks and you want to grind light tanks, the T100 right now is the tank to go for. So moving on, we got the 60 TP. Now again, I've always recommended tanks like the IS-4, IS-7, but now the 60 TP will also teach you a lot of things. It has fantastic turret. It's got a great turret, and you can, if you can learn sort of go and hold down, you're going to learn a lot of heavy tanks, how to play a lot of heavy tanks. If you learn how to play the 60 TP, you will learn how to play the basic heavy tanks like the IS-4, the IS-7 and tanks like that. But the only thing with the 60 TP is it has a higher alpha. Now, why would I recommend the 60 TP over other tanks? Now, the tungsten shells, of course, is a big thing for the for this tank, the 60 TP. And overall, it's got good armor. It's obviously hasn't got great DPM. It's got a decent gun. I mean, it's not the best guns. You can side scrape, you can hold down, you could do a lot of things in the 60 TP. And again, if you're new to the game, I would still recommend tanks like the IS-7, the IS-4. But right now, meta-wise, the 60 TP, I think is a tank to go for, and definitely if you haven't grinded the 60 TP, you should be grinding this tank because it is absolutely fantastic. Would I say it's OP? I probably wouldn't say it's overpowered. In certain positions, yes, it is OP. If you can go hold down, not many tanks will penetrate you. Not many tanks will be able to get through that turret. And of course, when you're doing 750 alpha with the tungsten shell as well, that is pretty nice. And that's the thing this tank has got over the E100, is the E100 hasn't got the tungsten shell. Of course, the VK72, as we know, is getting the tungsten shell in the next update. So for now, the 60 TP is definitely a tank to go for. That moves on to my final tank. The final tank which I think that you should grind, or the final line that you should grind right now, and that of course we've just spoke about it, and that is the VK7201. Why? Because this is such an underrated tank, absolutely underrated. It is fantastically well armored. The gun is okay. Of course, the speed is not good. But again, so many people play this tank down. But if you play this tank correctly, you will balance almost everything that comes your way. If you're looking at them frontally in a certain angle, yes, you have weak points to the side of you, but you are going to bounce almost. I mean, watch this. The Death Star is going to try and shoot us. The Death Star is going to try and shoot us. 1300 Hesh. And we didn't even get splash damage. We didn't even get 1 damage done to us. Yes, he shot our gun, I believe, but 0. Absolutely shot our gun mantlet there. Absolutely 0 damage. He bounced Hesh. And this tank, in certain positions, will get you a lot of bounces. And of course, just like the 60 TP, from the next update, I think the next update, this will be also getting the tungsten shells, which will make it completely separate from the E100. But to be honest, this tank plays different to the E100 anyway. I don't even know why Wargaming are giving it tungsten shells. It doesn't need anything doing to it. It doesn't need tungsten shells. It needs absolutely nothing. It is fine how it is. And when Wargaming say they are giving it tungsten shells to make it different to the E100, it is different. It plays different. You have to angle it different to the E100. It's just completely different. And I think the tungsten shells is just funny. I think it's funny that Wargaming want to give this tank tungsten shells. It's going to make the tank even better, of course, because you have that higher alpha. But overall, the VK72 right now is definitely a line to grind. So we're just going to finish off this game. You can see we've managed to farm up 3.2k damage. We haven't taken much damage in return, but we have managed to bounce over 2,000 damage. So it is now a 3 versus 4. The enemy are winning on supremacy points. I'm hoping the Sheridan takes out the Death Star here. I'm going to take out the 50B, and there goes the Death Star. So we do manage to bring it down now to a 3 versus 2. So of course I want to just push in and get as much damage as I possibly can before we get the points, before the points go up and we lose a bit of damage. So I'm going to ignore the tank to my right and go for the Kranvagn, hoping that actually our Sheridan would have taken out the Emil. Of course, now I'm isolated. I've got a tank to my left, tank to my right. I don't want to be crossfired from these guys. So here the VK I'm going to leave for the Emil, and I'm going to start pushing forward because it's only us two, and we are losing on supremacy points, or we was losing on supremacy points, and we just got this Kranvagn left. no problem whatsoever. So this is my top 5, guys, lines to grind right now. Of course, in the future it could change depending on the buffs, depending on the nerfs that happen, but right now these are definitely the lines that I think you should grind as a new player, or even as an old player if you haven't grinded these lines before. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'm meadsyreplays, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye. With